Hello, this is an assessments PD that I've done with my school recently. The link of the PowerPoint and other resources will be included in the video description. Now you can start your PD by engaging the audience to complete the statement using the Jamboard. So students learn most effectively when of course, they can write more than one idea. Also, you can engage your audience with thinking of other ways that assessment may help students. Now, I noted that the last point here, being placed in the appropriate class and program, it's not applicable in the country where I teach. This slide is taken from the Indiana Department of Education. Also, the assessment helps teachers in various ways, such as grouping them for instruction of a specific target, learning target, and also not only setting their lesson plans and objectives, but also planning for next step using the feedback from these assessments. And also because the assessment definitely gives you a hint of where the student is in their learning journey. Now, another way to go into the formative and summative assessments is by, a graph. So I've taken this graph from, I think, education.org. I'm not quite sure, but I will definitely link it in the document file. So you could see the formative assessment is taking the big chunk throughout the academic year, in comparison to summative assessments. Of course, you can share you can ask the audience to share their thoughts and have an interesting discussion. Now, a quick comparison here: formative is the assessment that's for learning, but however, the summative, it's of learning. So definitely, as teachers, I think I should pay extra attention for the formative assessment, because it is for their learning. It is to plan their lessons. It is to move forward. But the summative assessment is just to see how everything is done. So it's grades, and it's the final step, the final test. So final reading is fluency, final writing, final listening. Okay. You could share this example with your audience in differentiating between summative and formative assessment. So in this example, the instructor gives students a quiz throughout the unit of study, also wants the students to become more motivated with frequent feedback, but he doesn't change based on their feedback. He doesn't act on it. Does not use the information to adjust instructions. He wants the students to see the types of questions they can expect on their summative assessment. So clearly, this is not a formative assessment. The second example, the instructor reads a prepared statement and asks students to indicate with their hands. So this is mostly used in lower grades. So instructor sees every student's degree of understanding and then immediately decides whether to go on or to revisit the concept to address the misconceptions. And as teachers, it's always the question whether to move on or reteach. So definitely a formative assessment, because you're using these you're using the feedback to adjust the instruction. And there you have it. Of course, you can engage your audience further into formative assessment related discussions. For example, there are many definitions for formative assessments. I personally like that it's the systematic process to gather evidence of learning. And this can happen when students communicate their level of understanding using these formative assessment strategies.